Thank you to our sponsors for today's video, InfyPower, Eaton, and Ionna. InfyPower is the largest EV charger module provider with over 3 million power modules running reliably worldwide. Their latest G2 collection features ultra-high power density and efficiency for EV charging and energy storage. InfyPower, innovation for your power. Also, Eaton. Eaton is a one-stop shop for implementing reliable and innovative EV charging infrastructure at your site. Across all applications, Eaton's EV charging infrastructure, hardware, and software gives you the scalability, flexibility, and intelligence you need to charge today and scale up tomorrow. Learn more at eaton.com/EVCI. And Ionna, North America's premier charging network. With unmatched commitment to elevating the customer experience, Ionna is opening America's roads to all EVs, giving drivers the coverage they need, the reliability they deserve, and the amenities they crave.
Hello, welcome back to Out of Spec. This behind me is the Li Mega. Li Auto, I guess you could say also, but Li Mega, and this is the home edition. So it's actually brand new as of like this week. We're at the Shanghai Auto Show, and this is the new upgraded version of the Li Mega that was out last year. This is actually the first EV from Li. They have a whole slew of cars in this area that are all range extended electric vehicles, so they do have a gas engine to help the battery go further, but this is the actual first battery electric vehicle from Li, and I'm really excited to show you guys today. It's a very quick walk around tour. We're here at an auto show full of people, but I still wanted to get you guys as much access to this really cool Chinese car. So let's talk power, stats, all the nerdy stuff you guys seem to care about, myself included. All-wheel drive, there's really only one powertrain you can get with this thing. So, front motor is a synchronous induction motor, 155 kilowatts. The rear motor is permanent magnet, 245 kilowatts. So a total of 400 kilowatts. I guess they do just sum them together. Sometimes you see cars with like mentioning peak power on different motors, but then like the overall peak power is different. This just keeps it at 400 kilowatts, which is about 540 horsepower, close to that. Also about 540 pound-feet of torque. So ample power, I think, for something this big. It does weigh a little over 3 tons, about 6,100 something pounds, which is actually not bad given how big of a vehicle it is, and also just how much stuff it is. Like, you see cars with this much stuff, all these powered seats, massage, heated, cooled, all that stuff. The weight all adds up, and they did pretty well at keeping the weight reasonable. Having, you know, the soft closed doors, all those things, and also all the safety crash standards that they had to meet. Of course, it's not crash safety rated for the US, it's not for sale in the US, but they did meet or exceed all the Chinese stuff, including crossbar safety, all the things. So that's the motors themselves. The battery pack, 102 kilowatt hour NMC chemistry, so it's not LFP, but it is, I think, high peak charging around 500 kilowatts. And it'll sustain charging at 400 kilowatts for a long time, so you should see really, really good charging. 10 to 80, I think, is quoted in 10 minutes. That gets you a range of, well, I don't really know, because CLTC range is 710 kilometers, WLTP is 575 kilometers. Neither of those are usually that accurate, but we can usually say it's probably closer to WLTC or WLTP, so I'm gonna guess 550 kilometers in real world conditions, which for most people, most families driving around town, completely fine. So I'm not really worried about those stats. I think it's plenty of stats, plenty of power, plenty of charging capability, which matters more than range, and 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. That's not crazy plaid fast, but it's like you're in a minivan. Who really needs more than that? So I guess first up, design. This is just not a brick. It's a van. It's huge, but it's actually very, very, very sleek all the way up and back to the back. So constant flowing arch. There is no actual like really hard crevices. Everything is smooth. The very, very back, I guess you could say, is the one piece that feels flat, but as a whole, it is such a gorgeous long teardrop shape. Gorgeous may not be the right word. A lot of people actually think it's kind of ugly, but if you look up front here, it's just kind of a blob. And I think it's kind of cool. We've seen a couple on the roads here actually, which is awesome. I think they sold like over 10,000 in the first year. It's not a huge number, sure, but they've sold a lot more of their SUVs, and they have battery electric SUVs coming soon as well, the i8 and the i6, which is cool. But as a first battery electric car for them, I think this is awesome. Light bar, that's very Chinese, but also very Li. As you look at the wall behind you here, every single vehicle in their lineup has the exact same type of light bar thing. Kind of like the new Model Y, honestly. But this thing having such an ugly but efficient looking shape gives it an efficient coefficient of drag. I think it's like 0.219 or something like that, which is, no, it's 0.215, which is more drag, a better drag coefficient than my Tesla Model 3 at 0.219, better than a Taycan at 0.2 something. So very, very, very sleek. Now, of course, drag coefficient has to be multiplied by the area of the car, so it's going to push more air than those cars, but just as a coefficient of drag, it is basically best in class. You can also see a slew of sensors. This has their own ADAS system in the form of 25 sensors. They have a LiDAR up top, which is actually for this year a new, sleeker, slimmer sensor. They also have radar, they have ultrasonic sensors, they have like 11 cameras, I think. So 25 sensors total to give this thing apparently impressive ADAS. We can't actually try that today, but I'm really curious to try it because Kyle's been testing some of the ADAS in China recently. And of course, in the US, feels like our ADAS is lagging behind. We have FSD, which is really impressive. We can't use FSD in China, so we're starting to see what all the other companies are really starting to show, and it's really impressive. You also have double pane windows everywhere, which should give it really good NVH. We'll get inside in a second. Glass roof, and then 18-inch wheels. I think these are just the standard wheels. And what's funny is a lot of people think like the bigger the wheel, the more premium vehicle. This is the highest trim. This is the Home Edition, which is above Ultra, which is kind of funny. Ultra is the base model. Home is higher than Ultra because they said there's no place like home. That's basically what their reasoning is. But they mentioned 60 cross-section tires as a feature, because the more cross-section of the tire, the more comfortable it is. And this thing's all about comfort. Flying down the highway like a Rolls-Royce. They even mentioned Rolls-Royce to me when they were talking about the car. So I think they're like benchmarking that in a way. So between the double pane glass, the 60 profile tire sidewall, and dual chamber air suspension, 2.8 inches of suspension travel, well, ride height adjustment, actually, I should say. And that should give this thing a really, really plush ride going down the road. Let's look around back here. There is no frunk to speak of. Maybe service items up there, but they said there's really no reason to open it. But opening of the back here, that blade light bar also goes along the back. Huge storage space. That should be no surprise. This looks like a giant van. Not really much under the back, so no sub-trunk per se, but plenty of stuff back here. You can see the subwoofer here for the 21 speaker sound system, and no power outlets. Maybe that's not as much of a thing in China. We do have a 12-volt cigarette lighter thing there, but that's about it. So yeah, just your run-of-the-mill van storage space, which is really impressive given that this is not just a 3-row, but like a 2 very intense captain seat row plus a 3rd row. By the way, all 3 rows have heated seats, so that would be nice to see in more places than this. But closing that back up, nice and easy. You see the badging here with Chinese characters, and then Mega on the right. That's also very typical for most Chinese cars, having both the English and Chinese characters. Charging port right here, which I assume is powered and actually won't open with the door open, which I guess is good. It also won't let the door open into the charger if you're currently charging, so that's also good. You do of course have doors on both sides, which is nice, not like the minivans of old where it's only like one side and you had to be like that lucky kid to get into the side with the door, or vice versa. But we can open this here, just the tap of a button, and boom, there's the fancy cabin chairs. You can even see them swiveling, which is very cool. Comfortable neck and head pillows. I'm actually going to sit in here and feel it. Oh my gosh, this is nice. You do have a tray table right here, kind of like the Lucid Gravity. No USB ports that I can see right here, but we do have USB ports here, and it's actually labeled, here I'll take this, labeled 67 watts, which is awesome. I wish everyone labeled their USB ports so you would just know what to expect. But it looks like there is 4 zone climates. I don't think there is a separate climate for the rear, but plenty of vents, which is good. And I'll just pop back here really quick just to see how this storage space is. It is, yeah, actually super comfortable. Holy crap. This is crazy. And then here's the heated seat thing for the rear seat, which is nice. So, USB port in the rear as well. It doesn't list the power right there, which is interesting, so slightly disappointing. And then you have the shades for the rear glass window, also a shade for the front glass window separately. We'll get up there in a second. And the screen that can roll down. That's actually pretty great back there. What do you think, Jess?
It's great. I think the fact that this comes with a remote is probably one of my favorite parts of the car. Like you can like easily control it. You don't have to rely on the person up front. This is the second row on the left, and then you have the second row. Oh, on the right. Maybe we can't.
Maybe in demo mode.
Yeah, maybe in demo mode. But here you can then adjust the seat positioning. Oh, there we go. That kind of did
Now it's
something.
working.
So this is your kind of dashboard. You've even got the windows as well that you're able to control on the remote, which I think is really cool, as well as the climate. So whoever has the remote is really in control of this.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel like I'm sitting in the living room seat, and now I'm facing one that's going the other way. So these are fully swiveled, which is really cool.
And so here is the climate of the mode. So you actually pick the seat that you're sitting in, and then you can kind of control the climate however you want.
Dang.
This is the massage feature over here. All right.
It might be a bit buggy. It is brand new. At least this version of the car is.
Yeah.
But yeah, the well, I guess phone, but it is a remote, but it is technically not a phone. I'm not sure if that's final, but it makes sense. Like, just have a phone with a dedicated app. It slides in here and Qi charges. Other way around, actually. Oh, no, it's charging. Okay, nice. So the phone just sits, or the control remote sits there and Qi charges. You have all your buttons right here. Dang, that's
a cup holder over here. Forgot to mention.
Oh, and a cup holder.
Yeah.
In the armchair, which is great. So you don't have to like reach way up here, which I think is nice. I think people have complained about that before.
And I think he mentioned the door opening button would be somewhere
right here. Yeah. They said that was also a change they made because people complained about going all the way up here when you could just tap it right here, which is hilarious. The screen also comes down, obviously, and this is a really nice screen, also upgraded from last year. So it was 17 inches, now it's 21.5. And how do we activate the screen?
So there's kind of a Hey Siri command that is specific to this car, and it's 理想同学, which is basically the name of the company and then like a student or a pupil. So it's interesting that the way that you address the car is like up here, not just a.
Oh, and you've activated it. Wow, amazing. And it's just a touchscreen, super, super reactive and responsive. Insane. And it is up to 800 nits brightness, which is plenty bright, honestly. That is brighter than a MacBook Air, for example. So no big complaints there. And of course, you can close the screen up here if you want more brightness, or like less brightness. And also the rear windows are tinted. So I think that's plenty bright for my needs.
Let's see if I can close it. 李品同学关后排屏.
Now we'll see if we can close the rear screen, maybe.
I don't think it heard me.
关闭二排屏。
Amazing. You do also have the shades right here, which is nice. And so now that I'm sitting, I can double tap this button here. And it'll open the door, and then my seat should swivel 45 degrees. And we'll see if it works. So I'm swiveling for easy egress out of the car. That's so cool. 45 degrees on off, that's what that button looks like. And there's USB-C ports in the seats themselves too. So there's just USB-C ports everywhere. Okay, so these zero gravity swiveling seats are apparently like industry only. Like there are plenty of other zero gravity seats out there in the industry. There's also other swiveling seats, but apparently they spent a bunch of money engineering zero gravity swiveling seats, which is really crazy. So all 3 of these seats move dramatically, and all 4 of these seats have heated, cooling, and massage. and it's actually 18-point massage, now hot stone. So like a heated massage function, which is absolutely crazy. So very, very comfortable place to be in all these seats. And even the third row is heated, like I said, and there used to be just the 2 outboard seats in the third row, but I think even the middle seat is. So now all 7 seats are heated. So in the wintertime, I guess you can actually sit in this and enjoy it. So this is a full demonstration of living room mode, which is like, I don't know what they said, 1.6 meters of space between you. Plenty of space between, I guess 4 or up to 5 people. And we even saw a table that was put up there earlier. Do you think that's like useful?
I think so. Well, they were mentioning earlier that like people actually like spending time in the car, right? Outside of just driving or even waiting at traffic lights or like waiting for someone in a parking lot. Like they actually they tracked, I guess, somehow the users like use time of the car, and they were saying that it's like over an hour. Like people choose to sit in the car for over an hour a day just outside of driving it, which I think speaks to like, they probably added that as a feature of like, hey, if you're going to be sitting in the car, you might as well have a table.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. They said like on average, all the other models, like people would sit in their car for 15 minutes a day. But with the Lee Mega, it was like an hour and 15 or an hour and a half minute a day of just sitting in your car enjoying it.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of makes sense. Like it is actually, the seats are genuinely insanely comfortable. I would gladly, easily road trip this thing. But also having the really nice screen. The 21 speaker Dolby Atmos system really, really seems like a nice place to be getting your hot stone massage. I would look for excuses to use this on a daily basis, even if I wasn't driving.
So I will say, from moving the seats back, or having the seats in that living room mode, having it all the way reset back to its original kind of formation here, takes a good few minutes. So if you're resetting and resetting a couple times, you'll be waiting a while.
Somehow this clip lost audio, but this car has anti-slam doors. An awesome feature I didn't expect to love this much. So if someone gets out of your car and throws the door closed, it won't actually slam.
So the AC is actually like broken out here. So I'm going to turn on my, uh-oh, that's heated seat. Finding cooled seat would be interesting. Maybe you have the controls over there. So we're met with 2 giant screens. They're 15.7-inch OLED screens. Unlike the rear screen was LCD, these front ones are OLED. I think that the reverse is what should happen there. The rear one should be OLED for those rear viewers. But the steering wheel, nice, big, and van-like. Like it does feel like I'm just ready to pilot anything. And you do have the screen here, small screen for the driver that's actually just sitting right on the steering wheel itself. See if you can see the stuff on it. Really just shows state of charge. I'm guessing range remaining. And there's kilometers, kilowatt hours, PR&D, park, reverse, neutral, drive. And then just the usual buttons here. I think those are, there's the cameras, which are decent quality, not amazing, but totally fine. So yeah, they're not actually like touch pads, which is nice. Everything's just controlled with this, I think. Interesting. Okay, so okay is up, and that's okay. Yeah, so toggle to do up or down and stuff like that. The vents are manually controllable, which I think a lot of people will like. A lot of people do prefer that. 250-watt actively cooled wireless chargers, which is pretty epic. Cup holders everywhere. This, I believe, is a refrigerator, or maybe not. It can be equipped with one as far as I can tell, so maybe that's what would go down there. And then otherwise, the software is just huge. Is your screen just entertainment?
So this is an option. This was the home screen. So there's entertainment, and then I think, oh gosh, I don't know what that is. And this is where you can control everything related to the seat. So you've got your front seat massagers, second row massagers, and then the positioning of the seats, the 45 degree, the 90 degree, and the 180. And then this is also, I believe, the reclining. So a ton of capabilities
my gosh.
to do. They also have social media on here. So this is the little red book.
Okay.
Is the China TikTok, music, radio.
Radio, okay.
Yeah, Dolby Atmos, of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And then quick controls there, including brightness. How bright is that? That's pretty bright. Okay. And then I kind of have my own controls over here for, oh, I guess these do both screens simultaneously, which is nice. And that's like just quick shortcuts to all sorts of things. Holy cow. What is this?
This is the
Oh,
door
that was that door. Okay, so those are door controls. Trunk. I'm not sure. They said no frunk, but maybe.
It says, yeah.
Oh, but maybe that's just like service. I don't know.
Yeah.
They said they told us not to mess with it, so just not gonna mess with that. Locking. Here's more control to get to the cameras once again. Yeah, they're okay. They're fine.
Front wheel drive, back rear wheel drive.
Oh, so you can adjust. What? Oh, you can look at the wheels closely to make sure you don't curve your wheels. That is nice, actually. And there's a 3D, which is really funny because the doors are kind of messing that up, but when the doors are closed, you can kind of see your environment in 3D. So you can see the entire auto show right there. That's pretty sweet. Mapping-wise, not really sure how their mapping system works or what they use for this. Because notably, we haven't been able to use like Google Maps and other stuff like that here. But
It's Galda.
Galda?
I don't know what the English name is.
Okay. So presumably it does have on-route preconditioning, all that usual stuff. You can find chargers here. Curious what this shows. Yeah, chargers, peak rate, what the cost would be. So like level 2 versus DC fast charging, much higher DC fast charging, and just the overall responsiveness of the screen. Like everything is super fluid, super fast. Like it makes even the best American cars look just, I mean, Tesla's up there, Rivian's is decent, Lucid's is pretty fast, but like this just feels next level. These are powered by a Snapdragon chip. So maybe in the future we could start covering what chips are in cars, because maybe that'll make US cars have better chips, because China is very proud of the chips. They always list the chips they're using. So the Snapdragon here, I think it's NVIDIA chips for the ADAS system. Okay, so cooled seat helps because the AC is basically broken in this building for some reason, and so it's a little warm in here. This says 29C. But yeah, that's just a quick look at the front and honestly the back as well. Huge, super comfortable. I think any family would enjoy road tripping this around. Would you come out and sit in this for an hour and a half?
I don't know, but I think that girl we saw eating ramen, watching the sunset the other day would definitely enjoy this car.
Yeah, she would be one of those people, maybe more. But yeah, I'm a fan so far. Even the like the materials, the fit and finish, everything feels really solid. Like no creaks. And like, I mean, even just like sitting in Cadillacs recently where you'd like touch right here and the whole thing would creak. Oh, the doors just closed for the first time and I can't hear anything.
No, it's completely soundproof. That's crazy.
That is so crazy. So, yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine how, like, if you're going fast on the freeway, like you wouldn't hear any road noise.
On the highway, this would feel amazing. So, like I said, double pane windows, every single piece of glass, except for the very, very, very back glass, is double pane, which really helps with that NVH. And like I said, really, I mean, everything feels rock solid. All the touch points are really pretty nice. You got storage areas literally everywhere. Fast USB ports. Like, I don't know what this is really missing. I don't know if the table is like that useful, but I guess if you do take your van caravanning or whatever and you have time to kill, like that works.
Yeah, I mean, they really talked about it being a car built for multi-generational families,
Yep.
which I love. You've got features in it that are dedicated to like newborn infants, like different ways that you would configure a car seat. They talk about the swivel seats being for, you know, older generations, like making it easier to get in and out of the car. So I think having a table plays into that. Like if you are transporting your family, it just makes it easier to like spend time or like have quality time,
Yeah.
be a part of the car, which I think then, you know, really leads to an aspect of like brand loyalty.
Exactly. Yeah, I can see why people would likely. So there we have it. I think we did summarize everything pretty well, but that is the Li the Mega, the home version, which is honestly the one you probably want. As far as I know, that gets you the swivel seats. Otherwise, I mean, even the Ultra, which is funny because that's the base model, but base model is not really the right word. This thing, as standard, just gives you like pretty much everything. It's meant to be a really, really, really nice place to get around. It feels nicer than a lot of the cars I've driven in the US that are more than double the price, as far as just how you sit, how you feel, and how you envision yourself feeling. So at around $80,000 US when converted, it's an absolute steal. Now, you can't necessarily look at the Chinese price and be like, oh, that's what it would cost in the US, because tariffs, I mean, there's a bunch of reasons it's not even in the US, but as a car in China, I think this is beyond a compelling option, and I'm intrigued. So, looking forward to seeing what else Li puts out. Of course, the i8 and the i6 are coming soon as battery electric SUVs, but as a van, this is the new bar. The bar has been raised.